Sit back and relax while you listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and with my friend Dan, we plan to inform and entertain you everything miniature wargaming related. On this episode of the podcast, we're going to go over what we've been doing, a bit of news, and then get into discussion and growing your community. Now, on to the show. So, Dan, how are you doing this? We took last week off. We got.
Yes.
I got a little busy. You might have got a little busy as well.
Yeah, it's been an interesting. You know what? It's October. The first month of teaching was difficult as it is, and now we're in October. But I was joking because McDonald's is now giving us a free meal for teachers.
I wish I qualified.
All is good in the world. all my pain and suffering is now over now that McDonald's has acknowledged our pain and suffering. Oh my Lord, have mercy.
Have you checked the cash value of that meal they gave you? Like, how much is that
low.
sandwich?
Well, to be fair, to be fair, they give you a sandwich, a hash brown, and a coffee. So the combo meal is like $5-6. Let's say it's like $6 times 5. So yeah, $30 for the week. Sure, I'll take it. Although I will say that I should have read. I got the sausage. I thought it was a sausage and an egg sandwich. Nah, it was a sausage and biscuit sandwich. Or sausage and biscuit. That was it. It was 2 biscuits and a sausage. No gravy. No gravy. I'm so mad. Oh, the disappointment. But tomorrow, don't worry. Tomorrow will be bacon.
Oh, is someone else doing something tomorrow? Is this like a week-long get a free sandwich thing?
Oh, no, yeah, it's a week-long get free breakfast. Week-long get free breakfast.
At McDonald's, or is it like different places?
Oh, no, it's just McDonald's. Okay. Apparently, McDonald's only understands the plight of the public school teacher. No one else. No one else. Oh, no. And then I've just been working on my 2 Telemons that I finally got. Oh. And I finally... Telemons. Big Custodes dreadnoughts. These are your...
Okay, yeah, I did not know the name.
No, I know you kind of play 40K. You kind of see the big Space Marine thick dreadnoughts, right? The Redemptors, right? Yeah. This is them. These are big, should be knights, but they're not knights. Dreadnoughts. They're massive. And now I finally have 3 of them. For rule of 3, and also just for completion's sake. The name tags still are not in. They're lost somewhere in the sea of the Atlantic Ocean, because God knows that all shipping is backed up beyond all belief. Yeah. But hopefully someday soon they'll come. And then what else was that? Oh, and I finally ordered the one model I've been waiting for, and that's Valdor, Constantine Valdor, the shield captain general of the Custodes for 30K. So I was extremely excited to finally nab him. He's been out of stock for literal months.
TGW
not
or
a year or so. No, this is Forge World. He's beautiful. Like, I'm actually somewhat like I've painted Scoria, which is the weird spider-like dude, and he was kind of hard to paint. But this model is this will take the cake for like one of the more expensive models, and at least one of the more detailed models I've had to paint. But I finally was able to nab him, and he went out of stock too. Like 5 minutes later, he went out of stock. After I placed the order, so I was like, he's been out for months. I want to say like a year. So I've always wanted the damn model, but I'm not gonna get it. That's one of the models I won't get from, forgery. That's one of the models I'll get legitimately.
Yeah. How good was the model? Was it easy to put together? Looks good.
I haven't received it yet.
Okay. You just ordered it. Okay.
And I just ordered it yet. No, if it's so, I would dare say the Scoria model I put together was a nightmare. Not for bending. Forge World, I don't know if they've gotten better with their casts. Yeah, and Scoria is spindly as it is. I don't know if you know who Scoria is. Scoria is like, basically, think of a spider and then a Magos on top of him, like a Mechanica Magos on top.
That's entirely awful.
It's great. He's pure evil. But those legs are spindly, like the definition of spindly. So I was more worried about fragility. If they were fragile, they'll break. But with Valdor's just like bedazzled. I don't know the word to use here. He just looks fine. He's got a beautiful fur cloak. the amount of jewels on him is fantastic. His base is, oh my god, his base. It's like a display base.
They do
It's
that a
only
lot for
40.
the bigger characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for at least yeah. I think it's only a 40 mil base. Oh no, sorry. So we have 40 mil base, 60 mil
Okay.
scenic round base. But at least even the 40 mil base is just like, god damn. It's just, oh, so good. So good. And I literally cannot wait to get this, because he doesn't look like he's going to be too spindly, right? Because even the
All right.
axe, like the good thing is like his spear gun, Jesus, his spear gun actually connects to the ground, so it's not like hovering in the air. Like those spear guns are
Right.
kind of skinny and they're bendable, but if it's connecting to the ground, you have like at least 2 points of contact where it won't move around.
All right.
But yeah, no, I am way too excited to receive this model and finally paint it up into the justice it deserves, because it's just, oh, it's such a good looking model. Anyway, yeah,
Should
that's
I
me.
ask how much that model was?
Oh, you can. It's
All right.
free shipping, I think. With
Oh,
for
I'm sure.
well, no, it's 100. It's 104, which
Okay.
is
That's
expensive for a single model. It's a character
yeah.
series model, so actually, let me see how much was Scoria. Where the hell is Scoria?
It's not terrible for Forge World. I mean, Forge, we're already talking about a niche hobby, and then Forge World, you're
Yeah,
going even
exactly.
more niche than that.
Let me see here. Oh, okay. No, he's good priced. I'll take it. I just saw Scoria's 146.
But it's a bigger model,
146.
right? The way you described it, at least it
Yeah,
sounds like
no,
it
it
should be
is, and
pretty
I mean,
big.
I'll put it this way: the resin base alone is insanity. Like there's more resin in the base than some tanks, because the Scoria model doesn't have a scenic base. It's just 100 mil base.
Okay.
That's what he's on. He's just, or sorry,
Oh,
80 mil. He's on 80 mil base, which
yeah.
is, yeah,
It's a Anacris Scoria. That's the one you're talking about.
yeah. Car
Okay. Yeah.
Scoria, yeah. That base is
Yeah. I
just,
just
it's
looked it up.
solid. Oh yeah, if you look at the 360, that entire thing is just one solid piece of resin. It's absolute insanity, which is great for weighing the model down. But if I drop it, Scurry is dead. But you can see what I mean by the spindly legs.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
no,
he's not on a. It's not a spider. That's he's like on a scorpion. That's what that is.
Scorpion. Scorpion. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a little fluff. He's like the first Dark Mechanicum Magos. He's the one who actually said, "What it'd be fun to combine demon souls with machinery." I mean, you could kind of look at him and
Yeah. You can
assume
tell
as
he likes
such.
that idea.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was the first like Hellforge. He was the one who made the first Hellforges. He's nasty. He's nasty. And then Valdor is Valdor. Valdor is nothing can like. He's just awesome. He's just a big OG. But yeah, no, that's what I've been doing. What about you? What you been doing? What you been up to?
Not much. So the wife had a big event this weekend. It was the full weekend. It was the East Rutherford Civic Pride Association Fall Festival, or whatever other words they want to throw at it. It
Jesus,
went well. It was good. I mean, they get a lot of people, which was nice. But that kind of cut into a lot of actually working on much of anything. So I have a lot of projects that are still sitting where they were. My hope is this week to actually get some time into those. What I did do last week, and I'll go more into this later when we actually discuss the main topic. But I went to Red Seal Gaming on Wednesday because we want to. Right now they do X-wing that day, and they're doing an X-wing league and all of that. But the hope is to start playing some
Okay.
Marvel Crisis Protocol. So on Wednesday, that was a day that some people said like, yeah, they could make it free, or that's usually the day they're around. So I went in to try and show off the game. I was able to show one guy I know the game, but I was discussing with some other people earlier who were trying to come out tomorrow as well. So we'll go a little bit more of how that went, or my strategy with all of that when we get into the main topic. But that's about, I wish I would have more time for something, but that was about it for this week, or for all of last week and so far this week. I haven't touched anything this week. I got a lot more trying to finish up some stuff at work where I'm taking some extra courses myself to get credentialed in various ways. But all that work should be hopefully ending soon, so I can actually get back to getting some more paint on models, especially for trying to get it done for Friday, because we're doing the Friday night fights for Age of Sigmar at Maplewood. They're doing 750 points. We play hour rounds, 3 rounds, nice and fast. So I only want to bring painted stuff, and if I run the one list I'm thinking, I need to paint up another unit of Hobgrots.
All right. So, oh, the Hobgrots, yes.
They're bad. At the end, they're probably not terrible, but at the end of the day, they're not great, but they're cheap. And when you only have 750 points, they kind of fit in pretty well. So currently I'm looking at two units of them, but I only got one unit painted. So I'd like to get them painted up first. We'll see if I have the time, though. Hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. It's the start of the year. Well, not for you. I remember you guys started in August.
No. We started. Actually, yeah. I think we did start August. Very end of August. We start the Wednesday that occurs before Labor Day. So whatever day that would have been. So, but yeah, it's the tail end of August. But we're also done. I want to say the 20th or 21st of December, and then we got a month off.
All right. That's not bad.
I can't complain. All right, let's go into some news. So we'll start with GW because they're always the 600-pound gorilla in the room. Now, I was aware of the Black Templars, that they have them up now for pre-order. They have, I believe it's just the army set box at, honestly, what I think is kind of ridiculous.
Wait, are we talking Australian prices? Because I saw the Australian price and I literally wept.
What's the Australian price?
Oh, hold on. I got to switch to that. Oh, but yeah, no.
The American price, I think, is crazy.
All right, hold on.
For what you get for it, I think it's a bit nutty.
Wait, is that Australia? No. That's New Zealand. Oops. Stupid flags. Don't look.
Yeah. 6 of one, half dozen of another for that. Well, while you look that up, I'll mention what's supposed to be in there. So it's only 13 models. Wise. It's got a Black Templar Marshal. It's got an Emperor's Champion. It's got a Redemptor Dreadnought. Has Primaris Crusader Squad, which includes some Primaris Initiates, some Primaris Neophytes. So apparently they're upping all their people. Even their brand new people are going to that side. So it's got 13 miniatures. It includes the supplement. So it actually gives you their supplement, gives you the data cards, and gives you a transfer sheet. So
I'm looking at it right now. Okay. $200.
Ooh, are you sure you're looking at Australian price? Because that's the
I'm looking at American. No, I'm looking at American now. Oh no, the Australian was $380.
Oh
yeah.
If you play these games and you live in Australia, and you don't 3D print all your stuff, or you don't do it in some other way, then I'm entirely impressed.
Now, are the models beautiful? Oh god, they're so goddamn cool. Oh my god, like the flamer, that mega flamer, the commander, okay. Yeah, they look good. Okay, they look good. Screw it.
But are they that much better than the old ones, though?
Oh my god, hold on.
I don't know. When I look at the Emperor's Champion, no, I've seen some of the old ones. Are they better?
Maybe not the Emperor's Champion, but
no, he looks Marshal? Pretty normal to me.
What about the Marshal?
The Marshal, the guy with this. He's got a sword up. He's got a red.
Yeah, he's got the one with the half helmet. Yeah, he's got the half helmet kind of thing going on.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see if they have the old Marshal now that I'm. The Black Templars. Let me see here. Oh my God, why they're 9-page? GW, please.
At the bottom,
there's so many Space Marines. Oh my God, Lord have mercy. Let me see if I could find the. Oh my God.
What? You're right there. That was for an auditory medium. That was a very unpleasant sound.
Looking at some of the old models, and I'm like, oh God, no, please. Yeah, no, they don't have the Black Templar thing anymore. It seems, which is a shame because the old model was quite trash. That's me being absolutely nice. That it was trash. But no, I mean, okay, so the Marshal looks nice. The I guess they're Primaris Scouts. What the hell are those?
So those
They're
are their
not Scouts
neophytes.
anymore.
Well, so Black Templars never took scouts. They had neophytes, which were essentially like the scouts, but they called them different. And
They mix the squads.
yes, that was their big
That's
thing. Is that
right.
essentially their scouts were mixed into their squads.
But they have Primaris Marines. So, okay.
And
So these are
and their
essentially
scouts are Primaris now too. They're neophytes.
Okay. I guess you know what?
But
Yeah, the Redemptor looks good.
The Redemptor does look nice. I don't have a problem with any of the miniatures. I do think overall the miniatures look nice. None of them are like blow me out of the water, but I'm not a huge Space Marine person. If you're a Space Marine person, I think they are actually very good. What's blowing me out of the water is the price they're charging for it for essentially 13 miniatures and like getting your codex early.
A book, yeah. I mean, just to put it in perspective. So it's what it was a Dreadnought and 12 miniatures. You would say, right?
Yeah, Dreadnought and 12.
All right. So just to put that in perspective, let me see here. Give me a second here. Where's the start collecting stuff? So
this is the most expensive.
You get a Dreadnought and you get a Dreadnought and oh, here we are. So the Combat Patrol Dark Angels, right?
Yeah.
Is $140, right? You get 5 Primaris, 1 Leader, 3 of the Jumpy Dudes, and a Redemptor. And then let's say add the book, which is another $40 electronic. $50.
Yeah, probably in there. I'll put it this way: when you look at the
cost, at 200.
Yeah, your cost is actually probably not that off from what they do. I think what's kind of rough about it is if you want it, because let's face it, when they did it with other things, they usually delay the actual book by a little bit, or they delay certain things that are in the box, which means if you want them now, you kind of got to get the box. Yeah. Which means in this case, you're spending realistically, $50 to $60 more. All their combat patrols, actually, I'm looking at $140. So price wise, it's probably not. I mean, okay, GW prices are crazy. It's not crazy in terms of what you actually get out of the box compared to their other prices. What's rough is that you got to spend that extra right off the bat. You can't just get the miniatures and start or get them.
Just get the miniatures.
Yeah,
I'm looking and it's weird because it's so various. Some of the models. So, like for example, the Combat Patrol Adeptus Mechanicus, you'll be using all those models. They're all good. But then you look at. I mean, this also has to do with Codex as well. But then you look at like what was I looking at? Orcs.
The Orc one has the Death Dread.
No. Yeah, no one uses.
No one's taken them since they were on cardboard.
Yeah. But then, I mean, to be fair, you also have to start collecting. Do they have start collecting for? No, they don't. Oh, hold on. Look at that start collecting Craft Worlds. Oh, thank God I found the box at the Vanguard. But yeah, no. I don't know. It's expensive for a one-off purchase or start purchase. But then you look at the metrics. Do people start with Black Templar? Most people, if they start armies, are going to either start. I mean, OWL is always a big one. Space Marines. The niche ones are always kind of like the Demons, and actually Tyranids are usually big too. So I don't know. It's so hard with GW too because I've been in the hobby so freaking long that I remember when a squad of 10 men cost like $20.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's hard for me to essentially price it out.
Well, all I know is that the price of that starter is the same exact price as they have for the Age of Sigmar Dominion box, which comes with about 1,000. Well, the Cruel Boys are about 1,000 points. The Stormcasts are over 1,000. So it comes with actually what you could start playing the game at.
Wait a minute.
It comes with your book. And it comes with everything.
Wait.
That's the same price.
Oh my God! And you get way more models. What the hell?
You get 60. Get 60
models. Yeah. Wait a minute.
Now the point of that box
is HQs.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind the point of that box is to get someone into a game who's never played it before. So they're trying to sell a little bit both sides. So sometimes, they're obviously probably cutting a bit more of a deal there.
It's okay. You split it down the middle because obviously, right? Maybe you
Yeah.
spend a little bit more than the other person. Let's say I spend 110 and you spend 80 or 90 or 120 to your 80 because you just want the models. I want the rules and everything.
Yeah.
So I just spent $120. That's still $120 is still cheaper than the other boxes, and I still get the
Absolutely.
rules and everything.
You get the
No,
rules.
I don't. Then you know what? I take it back. I don't understand. I don't understand
Yeah.
at all.
No, it doesn't
I
have
take back what
their
I said.
it doesn't have their codex, but it does have the main rule book. So to me, that's sort of a wash because technically, if you're playing 40K, you need some rules as well. So
Yeah.
I,
No,
I, I
yeah.
it's the startup, I think, is what bothers me when I saw it. That's a tough sell for someone who wants to get into something. That, hey, here's what you got to spend. Oh, you get these models. Yeah, that's not going to be nearly enough.
Yeah, and
You
again,
know.
just looking at the Dominion box, I had to have forgotten what I mean. You get no. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah.
That's a big no from me, dog. That's a big no from me. No, it's just
I
I'm looking
agree.
at I didn't even realize the Dominion box was 199. Why would I ever spend 199 on? I mean, does it at least come with like a poster or something? Not that it means anything, but do I at
It
least
come
get like a poster or like
no,
dice or
no,
something?
well, so they give you your essentially your codex. They
Yeah,
give
I see
you
that.
your data cards, and they give
Okay.
you a transfer sheet. So they give you enough in GW dollars to make sense of the price, but I think it's still a hard sell.
Yeah, that's still a hard
You know.
sell. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, because no. Just again, looking at the Dominion box, I did not realize that that was the same price.
Yep.
I that yeah no that no. I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought that up because no.
Yeah.
Now
You hit a.
there is other. Oh, go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. No. Go ahead. This is
I
what
was
we were
saying
going to
there
bring up next.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's other GW news, and they've been releasing it kind of cool and on Warhammer community and stuff because a lot of people have been rumbling. What are the next codexes? People have been saying, it's going to be Gene Stealers and Custodies, but what's really awesome is they've been actually releasing some. Or where's the rules? There we go. Where Tyranids are getting an update. Which oh my god, what? I know Tyranids, Xenos, not Space Marine. But yeah, no, Xenos is getting a freaking update with really interesting rules. Like I know that bone swords or monstrous bone swords now invulnerable saves can't be thrown against them,
Wasn't that
which
an old
is that
thing? They used to
I
have that ability.
cannot remember for the life of me. I know the Catan has that ability, and Catan's a pain in the butt
Yeah.
for that
They
ability
used,
alone.
at some point they had that where it ignored invulnerable saves.
I know it had instant death. That one I do remember back. Oh, 7th edition.
Yeah.
I never remember that instant death. But, it's just it's yeah, these are pretty damn cool rules. And I know a player who plays Tyranids, who is very excited for these as well. But this is my biggest pet peeve. Now this is
Right.
my bigger pet peeve more than pricing. This is probably my biggest pet peeve.
Mhm.
And funny enough, this actually goes into our discussion later a little bit with talking about getting new players and considerations, especially for companies. I hate I hate the diffusion of rules through multiple books.
Oh yeah.
I despise it. I mean, I know I mentioned this before, but I don't want if I want to play a game for some of these armies, I have to bring a rule book. I have to then bring the codex. I have to then bring the supplement or two supplements sometimes. Then I have to bring the FAQ and errata for the rule book, the codex, and the one or two supplements. And sometimes they even put rules in White Dwarf. Why? Because they want to. And
And they
that
talked for a
diffusion of rules.
while. They talked for a while about not doing that anymore, and then they started doing
And they
that. I know they're doing
nope.
that for I want to say it's either the next White Dwarf or maybe the one after. I don't know what number they're on right now, but they're putting out some new update stuff for Seraphon. So if you're doing Seraphon, if you want updated stuff that makes you better, you better go grab that White Dwarf.
Nothing feels more like a gatekeep than when they do that, and it angers me because again, I want to listen. Listen, I'm all for a company making money. Fine, you got to do what you got to do,
Yep.
but at least do a rule book and codex. And I think,
Yeah.
why do I need 2 to 3 supplements on top of, and then just a white dwarf as well? But why? Why? It's
Because you will
no
buy
more than a
it.
cash grab. Don't.
It is.
Yeah, exactly. It's a cash grab. It's just, I don't know. So yeah, that's my. Oh God, I hate that with
No,
such a passion.
no,
But
I
at least
agree.
Tyranids get an update.
That's true. Yeah. No, I agree. I think in this current day and age, if you are really charging a bunch for your rules, I feel you're doing it wrong. GW gets away with
Mm-hmm.
it because they're very popular, but other companies don't even usually try because they know it's not going to work. People aren't going to pick it up then.
It's
But
not. When you go through the list. Infinity online
mm,
rulebook that gets electronically updated with a free army builder. Drop
yeah.
zone commander, drop fleet commander. Online builder with online rulebook that gets eroded. In fact, there's no all the armies are inside the
Mhm.
rulebook. Even
It's easy.
Battlefleet Gothic,
Yeah.
like
Well,
the original
it's
Battlefleet Gothic
easier
had it.
to think about games that don't do it, and other than GW ones, honestly, I can't think of companies that do. I'm not saying
I'm gonna
companies
say,
don't sell
yeah,
rule books. There's absolutely companies who do. You can get copies of rule books. It's more of, is that the only way to get to your rules? Because now they even
yeah,
started putting walls up on the app builders, like on their official ones at least. So if you're using their official builder, like, hey, yeah, you want to know what this thing does? Well, you have to have bought the book and you put a code in so that way you get it unlocked.
exactly.
So okay, so
It's
that's the Tyranid stuff. Has there been leaks otherwise
uh,
about them or just the
yeah,
official stuff?
no, just the official stuff. Imperial
Okay.
Guard's another one. Imperial Guard, of course, getting updates as well. Just overall updates across the board, which again, it's nice. It's nice because you think a lot of people. Sorry, you think people who play non-Space Marine armies don't have updates. I mean,
No.
Sigmar alone, there's updates for pretty much every race all the time, pretty much, right? Um,
Yeah, it feels that way, yeah.
but like every for Christ's sake, for Games Day, aren't they releasing another Primaris Lieutenant? I think.
Yes, this one's got a shield
Oh,
and a vampire lady. They got shield guy and vampire lady.
but that's what I'm saying. But there's my point. There's my point. Sigmar gets a vampire lady, not a Sigmarine, a
Yeah,
vampire lady. That's awesome.
that's
That
true.
has
They do
nothing
vary it up.
death. Yeah, they vary it up and 40 gives into the Primaris Lieutenant, which then brings the problem. Like, we only have what, 4 new codexes now? Kari, Adeptus Mechanicus, Space Marine, and I feel like I'm missing one. But that's what I'm saying. It's just like, I know COVID slows everything down to a crawl, to update stuff, but still, it's just, I don't
Wait,
know.
so
I don't
for
like the idea of supplements.
across the year or since like the new edition?
Oh, so it's the new edition. Since the new edition. So the new
When did the new
edition is
edition
what?
come out?
Oh God, I don't even know.
Not just even ballpark.
Hold on.
Like a year ago? Was it mid-pandemic?
Bro,
Before pandemic?
COVID, COVID got me so messed up. I don't even know. Hold on, your ninth edition Warhammer, 40K. Jesus Christ! No, I'm not even. I wish I was joking about it too.
Oh, I
I don't
understand.
even know.
Time has not
And of course, it
existed for
doesn't.
quite a while.
Maybe Goonhammer. Let's see. When did they make this article? Come on, Goonhammer. Come on. Oh damn it! Well, it says
My character.
2021, so
I don't think
it
that's
had to be
true.
recent. I feel like 2021 is too soon. No, it had to be
Favorite
like
part of the
2020.
show is when they sit there and Google things rather than that one guy talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, exactly.
it.
I don't even know, bro. I
But
don't know.
either way,
Here we are. Here we
it's
are.
been a bit
Sorry.
of time
One,
since.
two, three, four. Oh no, actually, I lied. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, there's been 9. There's been 9.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Okay,
lot more
okay,
than okay. Yeah, nine
okay. Oh
feels
wait.
pretty good because I think the edition's only been out a little bit over a
Yeah.
year.
Okay. Okay. I'll take back my comment. I'm not above being wrong and admitting it because we had Space Marines, Necrons, all Blood Angel, Space Wolves, Death Watch, Dark Angels, and now Black Templar, Death Guard, Drakari, Mechanicus, Sisters of Battle, Orcs, Grey Knights, and Thousand Sons. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's a lot.
Okay.
Now they have a lot of
Okay.
factions,
Okay.
so it can still take a very long time before you get to yours if you're like
Well,
waiting for one in
funny enough,
particular.
Oh, Goonhammer, I love you so much. So how many did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4,
Said
5,
9.
6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Sorry, 13 codexes.
Wow.
Apologies.
That's a whole lot.
13 codexes. Hold on. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's still 15 more codexes left.
Yeah. And that's if they don't do any new factions or who
Oh, they'll
knows
make
what.
combined. Yeah, like you have Inquisition and Assassins are separated. They'll
Okay.
most likely combine those.
That should be, yeah. I agree.
But yeah, no, that's yeah. Okay.
And that's not bad then. They've got quite a bit done. Again,
Not
I
bad.
don't necessarily agree with the idea of tons and tons of books, but that's their pattern. They're going to do it as long as people keep buying them.
Yeah, they're gonna do it. Exactly. The market dictates, and we are suckers. All
Was there
right.
anything else from Big Daddy GW there?
Big,
There's
Big Daddy
always got.
GW. No more Big Daddy G Dubs.
All right. I know overall, at least when I was perusing around, a lot of other things were pretty quiet. So when we look at like say Asmodee, at least for North America, there's not a lot of anything going on. There's releases that are coming out soon in terms of say like the UK. If we think of like Marvel Crisis Protocol, I know over there they're getting Miss Marvel and Juggernaut very soon. It's coming out in UK slash probably other parts of Europe as well. I know there was just leaks today about War Machine, his cards for Marvel Champions, which is a card game. So it seems like all the shipping issues that are happening over on the West Coast are really just affecting any ability to get anything. I know when I looked at up the Asmodee things, there was nothing for miniature games through like the entire month of October. And honestly, nothing really announced when I looked at it before in terms of November either. There still could be something could slip in, but it looks like at least for us, there's going to be a whole lot of nothing for quite a while, which theoretically at least gives me a chance to catch up on stuff. It's you hear a bit of both. I've heard in some of the groups because I'm in various like Marvel Crisis Protocol groups, and you hear some of the people in there saying, "Man, nothing new. What am I going to do? Like this is bad. Like we need new models, all of that." And other people, and I'm one of these people who believe it's like there's I want to say roughly 80 models out right now for the game. Most people don't have them all. Most people haven't painted them all. Some people who buy a whole bunch are still working on them. There's still such a huge back catalog of stuff that you've probably not either gotten or painted or worked with or played with. We're probably fine for a while. Honestly, the quickness of the releases was getting a little bit much for me. So this break, to me at least, feels like a much needed break, giving a little bit of time to catch up, go back through and try things that I either didn't or I got to try say once. But I know from them at least there's a whole lot of nothing going on. Now I see that you put down some BattleTech stuff.
Yeah, so BattleTech had the big Kickstarter recently.
Mm-hmm.
They shipped out all their product, a couple months ago, and people are starting to receive it. People starting to review it. And what's really cool is that we're now starting to kind of see the metrics, how many they sold, how many people received their box sets, the quality of the cast, and all in all, this has been just a big win. The
So are they
casting, like usually,
releasing it? Are they releasing it, or is it like on like a Facebook group?
they
People like,
haven't
hey, I got my
released. No,
stuff. And,
no. They're it's both. It's both.
okay.
They're releasing their what they've how much they've sold, and also people reviewing the models.
Mm-hmm.
And it just on both fronts, they're winning. The amount of people that have ordered this stuff is absolutely ridiculous. I'm trying to find the article, and now, of course, when the joys of not having the article right when you need it because you
That's why you pull
deleted it.
everything up ahead of time.
It's like my car has a sound in it. Can you mind checking it? Sure, and then there's no sound every single time. Um, but I mean, just alone from the models, right? You buy Kickstarters, and it's always even the bigger Kickstarters, you get, there's always that chance where you're not going to get good quality models, or it's not going to work as a Kickstarter, right?
Or it's never
This
going
has
to come
happened for
out.
some of the, or it's never going to come out. But
Yeah.
just again, the casting of the models, right, which was a big thing. People are like, a lot of people are ordering. This is a lot of mechs that you're doing. How's the casting going to be? And it's been great. There's been no slippages in the models. No flash whatsoever. Some bendy weapons, but it's plastic. But overall, just I mean, again, it's just overall as a general term, it's been a win for them. It's just been nothing but positivity. And I mean, sure, BattleTech fans are always positive. It's kind of weird, actually. Yes. I mean,
Right.
any
So
release for them that gets them giddy.
I would have
Yeah.
assumed that a BattleTech community, not that they all would get this way, but they would devolve much like most historical communities and get real particular and real neckbeardy about like, hey,
So
you're supposed to be doing this
yes.
clan, and those colors are off. That green's too high up on that
Okay.
leg.
So
That's
there
what I
was that
imagine.
with the new redesigns. Like, okay, so there's more of a hatred towards uh, PGI and the MechWarrior Online designs than there are
Okay.
against what BattleTech redesigned. And the only reason for that is when PGI got the mechs and redesigned them,
Yeah.
a lot of people thought that they lost their
Old
panache,
shitty
their
aesthetics.
flavor. Yeah, but like, so yeah, they're old shitty aesthetics. They became more modernized, and like we showed you the models before. They still kept
Yeah.
some of the goof, but they look more modern, and I think that's what kind of kept people's ire down because the BattleTech community can and is very neckbeardy at times. And I mean, hell, I'm part of the BattleTech community, and I'll hear someone likes Karita House, and I'm just like, you little shit, fuck you. You know, why am I friends
I,
with you?
I think you almost have to be a little neckbeardy because let's face it, like, hey, they got cool mechs and stuff like that. Like, you could get into the game for that. But in reality, if you're really getting into that game, like, think about how much lore you have. Think about how much stuff you have to go
Oh,
through. You're
please no.
probably a giant, like, Robotech fan. You've probably watched, like, 130 hours worth of an anime related to,
Yeah.
Gundam and stuff like that. Like, you are probably living giant robot life. And now you have giant mechanized robot game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But no, so it's been just the reviews. And again, this is again, I'm so shocked at this because every time there's a Kickstarter, there's always that little bit of like, damn it, they made this really shitty model, or damn it, but
Yeah.
again, I have yet to come across a bad review, which and then like
It's good, though.
they also released some of the gaming mats, which again they embrace the idea of a gaming mat with neoprene. I'm surprised. I'm so well. I know why GW doesn't do it because they want to cheap out, but I'm so surprised that GW hasn't embraced like neoprene,
Yeah, neoprene.
mouse pad. They haven't embraced like mouse pad game mats.
I
I'm
think
so surprised.
I think part of it is because other people are doing it already. They already have. I mean, let's
True.
face it. They did change the size of their game, and that caused some of those neoprene makers to have to kind of go back to the drawing board on it and all. Not that it matters. I mean, you can portion off the part you're going to play on, but I just think other people are doing it. So their thing is like, well, we're going to do the models. Like, we can't make those mats here. We'd have to make them somewhere else. Other people are already doing it. Just let them do it. You know.
Yeah, but so that was kind of cool to see because God, I love BattleTech and I grew up with
Yeah.
BattleTech, and seeing those old goofy models. It's so again, this relates to it relates to our topic today.
Yeah.
But seeing those old goofy models, it's so freaking hard to get people into that game because the models are just so bad.
Yeah. They're
Even the
ugly.
clan mechs, which are more recent, are still so bad.
Yeah.
And just the redesigns just make them look so damn good, so good. So just props to the people who ran the Kickstarter, props to the people who redesigned the mechs, props to the people who got it out, and didn't have people wait for like months to get to get their models. Just
Yeah.
props all around. Like this was, if you ever look back and think of a successful Kickstarter, this was one of them.
Well, do
This
you know
was
what
one
the
of them.
turnaround time was? Do you have any idea what that was?
So, oh yeah, I can actually just calculate it. Hold on, give me a second here. 1 hot minute. Because I could literally just clan invasion.
The next
So it
great part was when
ended.
they just did math.
Yeah, hold on. It just ended. Where the hell is the campaign? There we go. So the campaign ended. Oh, does it tell me when it ended? I know it tells me when
Should.
it's updated. Yeah, it should, right? Man, I haven't pledged into Kickstarter in so damn long. Lord have
Yeah,
mercy.
I got a few. I got like 3 or 4 Kickstarters that I'm waiting on. Not miniature war game related. Usually um I don't like the idea of kickstarting miniature games. Now, I played one that was kickstarted. I play the A Song of Ice and Fire, the miniatures game, But I played that after it had been out for a while, after it became a bit of success. I mean, we could have a discussion of how big the game is or anything like that. But
Of
now
course.
that's a success, now it has multiple factions, and once it has a following, my biggest concern with Kickstarter, the reason I'll do it for a board game, especially games that could be played solo or cooperative, small group, is because, well, I know if I enjoy it, if I like everything I see about it and I enjoy it, then I'm going to get into it, and that's going to be a lot of fun for me. Like, I kickstarted Earthborn Rangers, which is by a bunch of the guys who used to do work at Fantasy Flight Games. And I'm really excited. You know, it comes in sometime next year, allegedly. I mean, we'll see timelines and all. But I'm excited for that. And if no one else wants to play, it's a card game. Yeah, I can sit and
Card
play
game.
on my own. Where a miniatures
And by the
game,
way,
can't do that.
so the pledge manager closed on December 15th of 2020,
Okay.
and people started getting it. You see here.
But keep in mind though, pledge managers can close
Usually
months
later,
and
true.
months afterwards. It could be 6 months after.
Ah, okay. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
Pledge
they started
managers
getting
can
it.
be very late.
So they started getting them in July, August. So there's that, which again is not bad. But let's see. Yeah, I can't find when it closed. Damn it.
Oh,
Damn it,
that's all right.
Battletech. But yeah. Also, I'm kind of mad that I didn't pledge just to get the plushie urban mech. Damn it. Totally wanted a plushie urban mech. I didn't even notice until it like finally came out. So I'm like looking at it like, oh, I'm so mad.
Well,
Man, look, it's so cute.
so I'll put it this way. I don't know the exact time, but when I take a look at the pledges, it looks like it was done originally in about August of 2019, because their $1 or more pledge, like be able to get into the pledge manager, was set for delivery in August
Oh,
2019.
okay. Got it.
Where when I look for the first box was set for March 2020 for delivery. So it looks like they're a bit over a year back, which honestly at the end of the day, yeah, they're putting it all at March. So it was expectation was originally March last year.
Yeah.
For the middle of the pandemic,
bad.
honestly, that's not so bad. Everything is delayed. Every Kickstarter, I have 3 outstanding right now. All of them are delayed. I'll see if I get them this year. If I do, great. If I don't, got so many other things anyway. But
Exactly. We got to pay so much.
oh god, yeah.
Oh, man. Which brings us, it's like perfect into getting to what the topic is, which is
Yeah.
this week it's going to be getting existing players into your game.
Yep.
Which is it's a good topic. It's a hard topic, but it
It's
needs to be
timely.
discussed. Yeah, it's. I mean, but the cool thing about timely topics is it changes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It changes over time. Especially, I mean, I was going to say it changes with the meta. No, but it does, right?
To some
It
extent,
depends
yeah.
on. Yeah, it changes with who you are and the community you're trying with.
When I say timely, what I'm referencing even more so there than just, that sort of change is, depending on where you live, we're now either having come out or starting to come out of sort of, lockdowns and a lot of that sort of stuff, where people are actually, and maybe even now that, if you want to be vaccinated, you've had that chance and all, enough time has passed, where if you want to start getting out there, you can again, where game stores are starting to actually have events again. I know at least there are local, or some of the locals around us, we're now in the time frame when they're starting events. Even a while ago when they were open, again, you could go in and play. They still weren't doing events. They weren't doing necessarily as much organized play, where now you're seeing that, and you're seeing companies starting to support it again.
Yep. Yep.
So now is the time, if you're trying to grow your community or work on it, now is the time to work on it.
Especially now that you're dipping back out of COVID, and probably people have no more backlog, like me, like the two.
Yeah.
All I have is the 2 Telebons because I spent all quarantine painting.
Yeah. Or people have been out for a while, and maybe the game that used to pull them in or interest them just doesn't anymore.
Exactly.
It's been a year since they've played it. They just, well, I don't know about that. Or maybe there's not a community for it right now, so they're looking for the next thing.
All right, so I mean, let's get into it. How do we get existing players into a game? So it can be any game, really, because we're talking specifically about miniature board games here, obviously, or it could be card games, obviously, as well. But how
I
do
think
we
card games
get?
are easier. I definitely think miniatures
Really?
are oh yeah, I think miniatures are the
Wait
tougher
a minute.
stuff.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna disagree with that here, but give me your reason
All
there.
right, so my reasoning is simple. And
That's
now,
interesting.
when we say get into it, I am not referencing the idea of like you're going to be super deep into it. You're running the best stuff or anything like that. In my
Oh no,
mind,
no,
if
you
I
can
want to
just
go pick
hide
up,
it.
yeah, getting in. I will put it this way.
Yeah,
I think this has to be almost from that sort of, get me to a novice to maybe get me to like first event. And we can talk about types of events that are good for this as well.
exactly.
But if I'm going to start, say, playing Magic, I can buy a commander deck. If we're going to play commander, I can buy a commander deck. I can play some Magic. And if we're not going to play commander, I could probably take that commander deck, scale it down a bit, and I have something. It's not great, you know, but it's enough to get me going. It's enough where I could actually
Okay,
play
okay.
that.
See, this is why
Where,
I think sometimes
oh,
it's easier with. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's a little easier with miniatures, and I think because I know you. We say I'm surprised you didn't say cost. That was gonna say
Oh,
card
we'll
care
get to
card.
that. We'll get to cost.
But for me, it was like I think miniatures are a little easier to get people in, only because for the sheer fact of just looking at the models.
It is more
It's
impressive, yes.
okay. Yeah, you look at a card game and it's like, okay, I'll give you the best example I can give you, like personal experience sometimes.
Okay.
Me and one of my friends, Steven, were playing a 30K game in the park, right? I set up a table, I set up the terrain, it was beautiful terrain, and
Mhm.
we set up in a park, literally an open park. The amount of people we had taking pictures, asking questions during our game, and I actually started like Googling what the hell this was astronomical. And I'm telling you, like, if we were playing Magic, it would not have had the same reaction
I know for a fact
as
because
us playing.
there
Yeah.
were some kids
So I think,
in college the other day. They were playing. What were they playing? They weren't playing Magic. I think they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh. From what I could see, I couldn't tell for sure. There wasn't a single person looking for longer than half a second.
yeah, it's you, but you break out a Warhammer 40,000 table, especially with like fully painted minis. Oh my lord! I'm telling you, like I'm mobbed.
Yeah,
It was. I mean, I was so happy because it was just like all these people were figuring out what it was, and the kids were like, "Oh, how much is the starter set?" I'm like, "Well, it's like $100, for $60 for like the start collecting, and then you get
but
the rules
that'd be
online
just.
for free.
I don't.
The
That
first
already is a
taste is
response.
free."
Is any of that true? We just looked at all
Yeah,
these
no,
starter
no,
collecting
no,
boxes
no,
that
no,
were
no, no,
140.
no. Start collecting is hold on. I
We just
was
looked at all
so
those
start
boxes that were
collecting box.
140.
No. You're looking at the no. You got to look down. So what? This is what you're gonna do. Go to Warhammer 40,000,
All
right?
right.
The actual thing, and then you click on not Combat Patrol. They're called Start collecting Warhammer 40,000.
Okay.
They're all 90. Although one is
Okay.
95. Why are you 95, weirdo? But they're all 90.
Okay.
It's
So
like the
100
one
bucks.
random chaos one is 95. What the hell? Um, and so it's 90. The codex is $40. The rulebook is technically free online unless you want to buy all the stupid fluff and the whatever. So you got
Okay.
yourself a good starting army for like a good kill team almost to a point, right?
Yeah.
For 100. That's not, let me see. I play Eldar. That's about 140. That's about 400, 500 points right there of Eldar. Let me see. What else do I recognize here? Yeah, it's about 400. It's a little less. That's like 300 points of tab. But it's around 300 or 500 points of stuff, which is good for beginning to learn the tank rules and the shooting rules and everything. You know?
So I do agree with that. I think this comes down to two different aspects. Are you trying to get an existing player into your hobby, or are you trying to attract a brand new person? For an existing player, for a brand new player, I agree with the idea that miniature games are a lot
Okay.
more shiny. They look nice. I can tell you a cool
Yeah.
story, and I can mention how this model's going as this. Like we can have a dialogue of what that means, and you're not really
Okay.
going to get that
Okay. Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
card game. Let's take a newer one, and newer than Magic. So let's say we use Flesh and Blood as an example. Um, it is not exceptionally new. It is newer to North America and places like that, but it's been around in Australia for a little bit now. But you take a look at that game, you know, I know people who play. I'm sure it's a lot of fun. yeah, it's a lot less flashy to get some brand new person who knows nothing of it and they see you sitting there. They're probably not going to come over and ask what you're doing. But if this is a person who already plays games, knows something about it, it might be a little more palatable in the beginning.
Okay.
That's sort of my
I'm
thought.
always
I think you
yeah,
can
I agree.
start easier, but I think the hill becomes higher. And I think the other
Okay.
the other
That's
the
an
other
interesting
big
point.
part the other big part with miniatures games you have to think of, if say this is a completely brand new person. All right. Oh, cool. I can go get that box. $100. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Well, okay, but you do have to clip those things out. Don't buy GW clippers. They're insane, but you still have to get some clippers. And you're going to have to get a hobby knife. And we're going to need to prime them. And then ideally, you should really paint them. You can get by for a while now. If you're a new player, if you don't paint in the beginning, no one's going to care. Or at least anyone who's reasonable is not going to care. But that is part of the hobby. At the end of the day, you want to paint them yourself or get someone to paint them and all. And
Okay,
I
that does
think
make
there's a
sense.
there's a snowball of things that go with that. Where again, like if I want to start a card game, yeah, I can go buy that deck. We can play. I got that
I
deck. We'll
wouldn't
play
use
games.
Magic as that example, though. It's Magic with its constant shuffling of what's in and what's out.
Oh yeah. So there's a different tactic that they both take. Miniatures takes the tactic of here's new things. We come out with new things. We redo rules. We make companies will probably tell you they don't, but we'll make bad models good and good models not nearly as good, so that way you
Yep,
go and
yep.
buy stuff that you didn't. Where card games do a lot more of a cycling, because otherwise, if your stuff was evergreen, you know, there's no reason to buy more stuff. Sooner or later,
Exactly.
you'll hit
No.
everything.
So, okay, if we're talking getting existing players into your game,
Yeah, so let's
I
start
mean,
with people who
yeah,
already might go
exist.
to your store or know something about miniatures or just gaming hobby in general. They didn't have to be miniature war gamer,
Yeah.
just the hobby in general.
I mean, the most obvious thing, and this is going to hit personal for me, and I'll talk
Mhm.
about why in a second. The most obvious thing is going to be, does the store have inventory? Like,
Yeah.
can the store actually sell it? And this goes into like my personal story, because I still say it's one of the best miniature games I've ever played because it hits everything. It hits alternate squad activation combat. It's a perfect scale. The models were not too costly, but not good. They were excellently They looked excellent in my opinion. And
Drop Zone
the
Commander.
gameplay was Yep, you knew
Yeah.
where I was going with this. And
Yeah,
drop fleet, even drop fleet. Yeah.
because I heard the story of the first time you showed up to the store.
Yeah, and and I played that game, but in another store where they're still playing it, ironically, and I don't even know if they're playing it anymore. Um,
What store?
the one I know I call it the one near Rutgers, but I just call it the one near Rutgers. I want to say it's Somerville. Is that Toget? Toget. I want to say
Toga. Yeah,
Toget.
the only game in town.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
I have no idea if they play. I haven't been
so
there in forever, so I have no idea
they
what they
used to
play.
play on Thursdays, and it was actually
Yeah.
there were like 6 or 7 people playing. Um, that game is and I will die by that sword. That game was one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life
Hmm.
because it hit everything. It hit everything. You had alternating combat, right,
Which is
which
good.
already makes it
Yeah.
a better game. I had already you had primary objective and secondary objectives, but they weren't complicated. Right,
Hmm.
primary objectives you both were attaining, but secondary objectives you drew from. You had a deck of cards, which depending on your commander, you had a hand size, or you had a hand size depending on your commander, and it would do certain things. So you could launch artillery if you were, the humans, or you could launch a nanomachine attack and hack someone if you were the PHR, which are enhanced humans, right? And then I mean,
Yeah.
even you have a troop in a building with an objective, just blow up the damn building, just demolish it. They won't survive. You don't you lose the objective, but so do they. You know, so I think that was. But here's that. So gets to the problem why it hurts personally. I love that game, and I collected the PHR, and then I collected Drop Fleet Commander, and I played the hell out of those two games.
Hmm.
But it never got. I had to sell them off because no one ever played in the local store Maplewood because those models are impossible to get. Hawk War Games before it became I know they got bought out by another company.
PC Combat.
Yes, thank you. Hawk War Games had a huge, and this was not their problem, but also their problem,
That was
right?
entirely
It's
their
a little
problem.
bit of both. They were having huge, yeah, but more so it was their problem, but it wasn't their fault. I don't know if that makes any sense. It was their distributor was
Yeah.
awful for the United States. The distribution was great in the UK, but the distributor was absolutely awful in the United States. We never got shipments into the United States enough to bring to local gut gaming shops. You always had to order online and usually overseas. Um, and so the models were never made available, or they were already ranked up in price because you had to ship it from overseas, right? And I'm
Mhm.
sorry, no one's going to start a game if I have to say, well, I'm going to wait, a month for my models. No, it's not
You-
how you
Ease of
start a
access
game.
does mean something. If the
Yeah.
store either doesn't carry it, can't carry it, or won't carry it, and let's say you play out of a store. So our both of our experiences, I think, tell me if if this is wrong. My only real experience in playing the hobby, getting into the hobby, is in a store. You know,
Yes. Oh, I
and
agree.
and there's other people now. If you don't have a store near you and you do this otherwise, unfortunately, probably don't have a whole lot we can tell you that you should do. I have some ideas, but not a whole lot because I don't know how you get people that might, that you can't
Oh, I have
congregate in
ideas
a
for that one.
useful way.
That one I
Okay.
do have. That one I do have
Okay.
because I did it in my
Well,
school. So that one I
okay.
can get you with that.
All right. We'll get to that in a bit then. That
Yeah.
then we'll at least be able to speak on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the game's impossible to get a hold of, you're right. No one's going to play it.
Yeah. And it sucks because, like, again, the models were beautiful, but when someone goes, "Oh, how do I get those models?" If I have to answer, "Oh, well, you have to order it from a British company and then ship it to the United States,"
Yeah.
I'm done.
You you
The argument, that's it. It's done.
Mhm. You need a store to be supporting you. So, if you really want to, if you want to grow something that already exists, it's a little bit different than if you want to really be trying to start something. If you want to grow
Yeah,
something that already exists, then you're looking at, can I use the player base we currently have? Will any
exactly.
of those players come over to this? And what can this, can the store help support it in some way? If you're starting to do brand new, then you're first wanting to even just talk to the store and find out, hey, this is a game I like. I'm interested in this. Are you willing to carry any of it? You kind of need both sides working on that.
Yeah,
You need to
and
be willing to get them to carry it, but you need to be
yep,
the one making sure it sells then.
yep, yep, and it sucks because I remember very specifically asking Richard. This was years ago.
Yeah.
Years
I remember
ago,
that, yeah.
before Drop Zone Commander had I think it's on its third iteration of the rulebook.
I believe so,
This is
yeah.
its first iteration. And I remember asking Richard, "Are you able to get these models?" And he just looked at me and he goes, "Nope, just
Yeah.
these models are impossible to get." And
Yeah.
I didn't blame him. I didn't blame him, but it hurt. It sucked because I remember how, and again, a lot of people looked at the models and they love to look at the models. Like
Mhm.
they're sleek looking models, but again, it's what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
So you
Yeah,
got to get the store involved.
yeah,
So
that's
that means
100%.
yeah,
Yeah,
you need to be, hopefully you need, the store needs to hopefully know that you are someone who can help lead this. I know we've probably had a few things I may avoid. There's been games that have come and gone, and that'll happen in any store. But there's, some of us who, when we decide to get into a game, can help actually move people into it. There's other people when they want to do it, it's just probably not going to happen.
yeah.
But so what else is needed? So you got existing, you got some people who already know about the hobby. You want to get them into this
Well,
brand new game you
I
got,
mean,
or game you've been playing.
you kind of you mentioned this before, but the idea of being a champion of the game, like
Yeah,
actually being the so this one I can. Funny enough, I have almost experiences for all this.
yeah,
Me and you were both vanguards for
yeah.
Spartan Games.
We
And
were.
we championed the hell out of Firestorm Armada, and we had a lot of people. Like, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm being exaggerated, but we had a lot of people playing Firestorm Armada to the point where we even had a tournament, right?
Yeah, there
Like,
was about
yeah,
probably a solid. I want to say close to about a dozen or so people who were regular players at the store who had picked up this game.
and other people who just kind of came in and floated in and played from other
Yep.
places. So we were champ that game, and I remember it kind of like took over Friday nights. Um, we would combat with the 40K people.
Yep.
And then of course. So you have to be. I mean, then of course you know the story of how the store the company went under, and that's its own little
Yeah.
thing. But like, you have to be a champion. Yeah, you know, it comes down to if you're first of all, if you're pushing the game, I hope you like the game, right?
Yeah,
You can't push
you
something
better
you
like it
can't.
a lot, and you better know a
Um,
lot about it.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm
So,
not going to
yeah.
name names, and you know who I'm talking about, but we're not going to name names. But there are people who are like, man, yeah, I love this game. I'll play this game, and they can't do a demo. They don't know
No.
their rules. It is
No.
nothing but a mess. And if you
Yep.
show someone a mess, they're going to think there's either something wrong with the game, probably,
Or something wrong with you.
or exactly, they're going to think maybe
Yeah.
there's something wrong with you, and they're
Community.
not going
Yeah.
to want to play games with you.
Exactly. And I remember God, where did I go? NJCon is where I demoed the game for a bunch of people. I saw those pictures. Oh, it's so cute. I think it was NJCon. Whenever the one was in Edison,
Yeah,
and I
yeah, I remember
remember
going.
we brought I brought
Yeah,
our
all
fleets
historical
over.
stuff and us, because they were trying to
Yeah,
branch
and
out
us.
historicals.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. We were the only sci-fi there, and
Yep.
and it was the what I mean. I was like, listen, you got your Navy game that you're playing. Here's a Navy game in space, which is essentially what it was. And
Yeah.
God, people bought boxes from Richard that day. I was like,
Yeah.
again, people bought a whole bunch of boxes. He made bank that day.
Yeah.
And this is again not to like say, oh, because I'm a capitalist, but yeah, I really enjoyed the game, and I
Yeah.
still do. I still enjoy the game. It's salty. I'm salty about it for different reasons. It has nothing to do with the game.
We're gonna
Nothing to
do
do
an
with the game.
episode about
Yeah, yeah.
about them.
Do's
And
and
and,
don'ts
and
of companies
and
specifically.
you know, there's nothing wrong with the capitalism part, because let's face it, a game store wants to stay in business.
Yeah,
It is
exactly. I'm
not
sorry. Yeah,
easy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy to run a game store. So they want to stay in business. You've got to be able to, if you get product in, you better be able to move it out. You better be actually
The
growing the
simple.
number of people and getting them money.
But yeah, no,
You
just
know.
being a champion, like just loving that. Because I'm telling you, when I demoed that game, it just, and maybe it's because I'm a middle school teacher as well. But you would have the kids there, and listen,
Mhm.
I love historical gamers, but
I don't know
historical
why.
games are not for. Listen, they're not for little middle school kids. They're not. No one cares about.
No,
No one
historical
cares
games
about
are
the
for
second
old
day
men.
of the Battle of. Yeah. So
That's all
here
they're
you have a
for.
spaceship game. Yeah, here you have a spaceship game. And I brought the Halo miniatures too because that's when they were there. Oh my god,
Yeah,
that's when they started branching. Oh no, I remember. But I
we'll,
did bring the
we'll go
Halo
through it.
miniatures
Don't
too.
worry.
Yeah, I know. But no, I had the Halo miniatures there, and Halo was a big game at the time. And it's just like, and I was, they see your excitement. You know what I mean? So yeah, you have to be a champion of the game. Although you also mentioned the next thing, which is, although I say this is the same as being a champion of the game, I think they're linked.
Yes.
Being able to run a demo,
Yeah.
like,
You have to be able to do a good
please,
demo.
yeah.
And I want to go
I
over.
mean,
I want us to discuss a little bit about what a good demo is as well.
yes, please, please. Oh my God, please. Oh Lord, have
So
mercy.
you, you want, if you um 40K is the most obvious choice, so we'll use that as our running
Yeah,
example for the
our
moment.
metric.
Yeah, but let's say you're trying to grow 40K at your game store. Well, there's a few things you should probably have, other than obviously the store support and all of that, and your willingness to support them. It is a it's a relationship
Two-way
going
street.
back and forth.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah,
two-way
it has to
street.
be a two-way street. But ideally, you should have more than one faction. You don't have to have a lot, but you better have some variety. One, to kind of show off, because it's a miniatures game. Let's face it, a lot of the pull is the look. That's what gets you originally. The reason a person plays one game over another in the beginning is because when they look at the models, and then it becomes, well, what about the rules? When you're really an ingrained player, then you might think of rules first. But you're probably not
Yeah,
going to consider something that you think looks like a pile of garbage either way. But you want to be able to run probably two different, you know, teams, squads, whatever
hmm
the game is broken
hmm
into. You want to run two different things. You want them to be different. You want them to play different. They don't have to play complicated, and ideally they shouldn't. They should be very easy to understand. And depending on the game, again, say you take 40K, they have a variety of factions. You can pick two factions. It really probably doesn't matter. But if the one faction has a lot of weird complications, you probably should be the one who uses it and kind of skip a lot of those things. If they really want to play it, that's fine, but kind of gloss over some stuff. We should have at least, I would say, two different sides to work with. So let's discuss. So if you want to run a demo day, let's say you want to try to do demos. One, you should try to run demo days. A lot of stores now have Facebook pages, Discord servers, a variety of things. You should be advertising out that you want to do this.
Hell, some of them have YouTube channels.
Oh yeah. Actually, I completely forgot about that. Some of them absolutely do. You should, I'm going to run the day on whatever day. Give enough notice, give at least a few weeks, try to drum up some interest as it goes along, see if they'll post it up for you, see if they'll let you put up some stuff about it, whatever it may be. Make sure you go. Make sure you have yourself set on time. Go early in case someone shows up early. Be set up. The last thing you want is some person who maybe doesn't normally go to the store or doesn't normally, show up and then you're either not there or not ready or anything like that. You want to be good to go. You want to be smiling and happy and, wanting nothing more than to show other people that your job is their fun. Your job is not to have fun.
I agree.
If you have fun, that's great, but your job is their fun.
Yeah.
So let's say you put together.
Honestly,
Go ahead.
I'll say this goes back to if you enjoy the game, you're gonna have fun too because you're playing the damn game. So
exactly. And you're getting new opponents. So let's
you're setting up this game.
Yeah. Let's say you set it up. So what to you is the hallmarks of a good demo? What's someone have to do?
So I'm gonna keep it to top 5 because you can go on and on, but I'm gonna keep it top 5.
All right.
And I'll use what I used for Firestorm Armada because I was a vanguard for the company. I'm not a GW representative. I'm not a Hawk War Games. I was a vanguard for Spartan Games. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you how I ran. So a demo, first of all, I had more than 2 armies. Believe it or not.
Yeah, you
did. Oof. Ever hear like of an insult but also good comment? That's what that.
Yeah. You burned yourself with that one.
No, I had. Oh yeah, no, I had a lot of armies, and they were massive armies. But I would take small portions of the army, like usually, literally a representation of each ship. A capital ship, a cruiser, a frigate, right? So that way, they were all painted. Oh, sorry. So the first step is bring 2 or more of the faction, and they're painted and they're based.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, please, just that's all lumped as rule number 1. That's literally just rule number 1. When you're showing up, bring 2 or more factions, painted and based. You can hate paint all you want, but if you want people to, you got it. Optics. They gotta look. They gotta look. Right.
It's gotta look good.
So that was my step number 1. Step number 2. This kind of goes with painting, but not so much. It depends on the game, but overall, terrain.
Yeah.
Every miniature war game that I can think of, unless it's War Machine, has terrain on it. Every game has terrain and some sort of board. You got to make that look good. I'm sorry.
If your game does 3D terrain,
it goes to the optics.
Looking 3D terrain.
Yes.
Don't go out there with no coffee cups and stuff like that. I've played games like that, and that's fine if you're playing it that way because you're playing with some friends. But
exactly. But if you're trying to sell the game to even existing, so friends are friends, but existing players might not be your friends. So that's why I'm saying, even if they're existing wargamers, you need 3D terrain. And there's so many options. Nowadays, back in the day when I was a Spartan Vanguard, I had to make all my fucking terrain. Nowadays, you can go to Game Mat EU and have pre-painted terrain made for you for not that much money. Get out of here with your nonsense. That's great.
You got good options. Or the store might. You have to be aware. The stores, a lot of stores have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. So you need terrain. So 2 or more armies painted and based. Terrain painted and based. Table. That's step 2, and then step 3. How do I put this into one thing? Know the rules and the fluff. Know the game, right?
Yeah.
This also could say know the corporation a little bit as well. It's almost like you're starting a resume. What can you tell us about us? How did you hear that? But know a little about the corporation. Know a little history of the corporation. But know the game. Know the game. If the kid goes, oh well, I noticed that he's got a bigger gun. Why? You don't want to give the kid the novel series of the goddamn fluff of the game. Right, we know people like that. They have their purpose, not for demo games. But definitely give him a breakdown of listen, he lived for 900 years, and he lost his eye when battling this thing. And maybe pull out a card effects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's 3. Know the game, know the fluff, know the company, and so I said top 5. Yeah, number 4. Uh, this one's controversial, and God help me when I say this.
Oh, now I'm interested.
You're not playing to win. You're not playing to
That's
win.
not controversial. If you win a
No,
demo,
wait for the second part.
go ahead.
Wait for the second part. You let the other person win.
Of course.
You give them a taste of the drug, and that's where the controversy. You give them a taste because
It is a demo.
Yeah.
If they are one. Now, the most of war games are games of chance to some extent. Maybe your war game doesn't do a lot of dice. Malifaux does a deck of cards and all. So there's random. There's not a guarantee that they'll win, but they should always be close to being able to win. And if you win, it better be a fluke of a die roll. It should never be you won because you did something better.
Exactly. You're teaching a new player act as such,
Yeah.
And then the 5th one, and this is the optional one. That's why I said top 5. This is optional. I did it with my demo games, and it was always something cheap. Have a goodie bag. There's something that I'm not saying give a fucking model because no, get out of here. We're not. These are my models. But no, but like come a little goodie bag. Vanguard used to send. I don't know if you remember this, but remember they sent like the big heavy box of like stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
in that box were flyers, stickers, badges,
oh yeah,
all manner of
just boxes.
Yeah, just goodies. So they won the game. Be like, you know what? You played this race rule here. Here's their badge. Here, have it. It's Velcro. Enjoy. But it's on the, and it's like it sounds stupid. It really does. But it does. It adds to it. You know what I mean? You see the kids, and again, this is me, doing this from years ago. You see how stupid fun the kid gets. You see the smile on his face. You see it. He goes, "Oh shit! I just won a badge."
I don't think it's that stupid because it's a gamification of things. Look at they've shown this even in education. Yeah, achievement points. They do that in education now. You're supposed to give out achievement points essentially.
I do that. I give out badges. Electronic badges and tokens. I do that, so I'm guilty. But no, it's that. And those are my top 5. All right. I mean, and that's kind of actually in order too. Make sure you have 2 or more armies that are painted and based. Right. So the optics. Make sure you have terrain and a board.
Yeah.
And I should also add and all the materials too, like all the rulebooks, the dice.
Of course, yeah.
Have your stuff
ready to go.
Yeah. 3, know the rules, know the fluff, and also I should also add to that, improvise. If you don't know a rule, don't say you don't know the rule. Here's a weird thing. As a teacher, I'll admit when I'm wrong because it's history, and I can be like, guys, I made a mistake yesterday. Here's the actual thing. Sorry about that. Right? And you roll with the punches. But you're demoing a game. Now, it's not to say that you're the god end all be all of the game knowledge, but it doesn't look good if you're like, well, I don't know that. Let me consult the rulebook for 5 minutes. Say fuck it in your head. Say fuck it. Who cares? Does it make narrative cool sense? To have him flip over the building and shoot my card effects in the head. I don't give a shit. It sounds awesome in his head. Let it be as awesome. And then 4 was I already forgot my 4.
I'll add a little context to your last deck that you put. Whenever I start a demo, I will tell people like, okay, we're gonna go through this. We're not gonna do all the rules. We're gonna be skipping things. We're gonna simplify things. And I will mention to them that essentially, like, I'm running you through the concept of the game. I'm running you through the broad strokes of the game, and there will be things that we are going to do that are just not going to be accurate. It's not that we're gonna necessarily do anything wrong or intentionally wrong, but there's going to be little nuance that we're going to skip. So like in 40K, unless they've changed it, you probably can't run and shoot normally. And let's say your model...
You can now. You can.
Oh, of course.
If you have assault weapons. Yeah, if you have assault weapons.
Well, so what I would say in that case then, I would say, okay, those guys run. Yeah. I would say, yeah, they don't shoot. If they had a different type of weapon, maybe they could. And I would probably avoid adding some of those extra complications right in the beginning. Now, if this is someone who's a veteran wargamer and they play tons of games, you can do a lot more nitty-gritty with them. But if this is someone who's not really either really into the hobby or is very new to the type of game you're looking at and all, you want to keep it simple. It should be enough to
Yeah,
interest them, but not never overwhelm. And a lot of war games, if
never.
you really get into it, can get overwhelming.
Oh yes, I agree
Did you
100%. But yeah, those
did
are
you
fun.
remember your
The fourth
fourth
one
point?
was yep, let them win, let them win.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
they
fifth one
need to
was,
win.
and this was the optional. Yep, and the fifth one was have a goodie bag. Just and again, the goodie bag could be literally. I think I bought it. I bought it for $20, and it was like cool dice. And I go, here, have a die. You know,
Yeah,
just one die. And it was cool. Like it sounds stupid, but they looked at that die like I won this. You know,
yeah.
it's so stupid, but I love it. You know, it's like it's almost like you give them the bag of crack for free. The first try is always free. But
Depending on your game, a lot of
yeah,
companies, not and more so now that we're starting to come out of COVID and all, there's a lot of companies who do organized play kits and things like that.
yes they
Or
do.
yeah, like I know Atomic Mass Games does organized play kits. They're now starting to come back out. A lot of times they do have to be ordered through the store. They're usually pretty cheap in all actuality. The price is never high, at least the ones I've seen, but you do have to go through a store for it. Get your store to order it in. See if they'll order it
Yeah,
in, and if they'll only order it in if you pay for it, maybe see what it is. I know I've done those in the past from different games I've played, and they've been like $10, and it's enough
I
stuff
know
for a
this.
bunch of people.
Yeah, I know this goes into what we're talking about later because
Yeah,
I know you told me to mention it. But even if you're a
yeah.
teacher, like or an educator, or even an office worker, there are companies that will send you out free stuff to
Oh
start
yeah,
a club in your school. GW, and I'll talk about that later.
yeah,
Because I know you mentioned like, what do you do in a school setting if you have new players? But I got you
yeah.
because I've done that. Yeah. But you know that's how you run a good demo, in my opinion. And
I
I think
don't I don't think I have
yeah,
anything particularly to add to that as an extra step in my mind. I think that's enough to get a person through. I mean, obviously that there's little bits of, be personable, be happy. If the dice become the worst thing ever
miserable.
on your side, then you better still be cheering as they slaughter you. Like,
And you laugh.
be the
Because
best person imaginable.
listen,
You know,
you're not in a tournament. You didn't
yep,
pay money for this game.
it don't matter.
Calm down. Let them win. If this was a tournament, sure, be salty about the dice. I don't care. Whatever. I still wouldn't be salty because that's just me as a person. But whatever. You be you, honey boo. But it's a stupid demo, right? You're trying to get
Yeah.
people to like your game. If your dice suck on you, weave it into a narrative. Take the model off the table and be like, "I'm unpainting you." So you know your lesson. Like, and you say that in front of the person. Have fun with it. And again, this is
Yeah.
maybe because I'm more of a middle school teacher personality, but just be sarcastic, be fun about it.
Yeah.
You're not playing to win. You're playing to have fun, and you're playing to show them how fun it is, even if the community sometimes is shit.
Yeah. And if,
You
if
know?
if it is a rough say like that BattleTech where we talk about how it's a whole bunch of neckbeards if you really get into it. Well, that's fine. They can be all the way they
Yeah.
want, but
They'll
just
learn.
don't,
They'll
don't
learn.
talk about them, steer them clear of that kind of stuff, paint it
Exactly.
in a good, realistic, but a good light. Don't lie to a person, but paint it in a good light.
Exactly.
You know.
Realistic positivity.
Yes. If it
Now,
like you were saying with Drop Zone, if it's tough to get models, let the person know.
yeah.
You don't want to get super
Well,
invested and turn out they can't get
and
anything.
then now you can't get anything. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that always shut down people quick. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
you got to be honest though. You got to be honest. Which then
Mhm.
brings us though to the good topic, the one you mentioned before:
Yeah.
new players, newbies, the
Yeah. So
scrubs, if
people
you will.
who, you know, I would say anyone who probably hasn't played a miniature game at all to me counts as new. So they might be
Yeah.
aware of the hobby store. They might even go. It could be the kids who play in D&D, or it might be like in your case where you showed it to, kids in your school who knew nothing of this world whatsoever.
So
So
the
go
reason
for it.
I'm happy about this topic is because,
Mm-hmm.
as I said before, I teach middle school. More specifically,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to go too specifically, because then people start headhunting or whatever. I don't know. But I
Yep.
teach in a Title One district. For those who don't know what a Title One district is, that is a
I'm one
inner
of those. I
city.
don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
I did not
it
know.
is an inner. Yeah, Title One is an inner city, receives federal funding, free lunches. Um, it's a hard place to grow up.
Yeah.
It's where I grew up. Listen, it's where I grew up. So It's not like I'm indifferent to where I am. I know where I grew up. I know how I grew up. I got out, came back in to teach, and whatever. I know where I am.
Mm.
These kids are exposed to video games. And when I say video games, I don't mean The Witcher. I don't mean
Well, no, it's like Madden.
I mean Madden, FIFA, Fortnite, Call of Duty, right?
Yep.
So their concept of a miniature war game is far beyond what they can imagine, right?
Yeah.
So what I did was I started a club. I wrote a proposal. The proposal is great because I brought in research on how it helps a kid grow, and it does. It does. And I
Now
had
this
this small
proposal
club
you
of
brought
okay.
into the school, you mean, right? Like
Yeah,
to
yeah. I
like
brought it
the
to the school. Yes, I had to
principal
bring it to
or
the yeah, I had to bring it to the administrators, and those
okay.
administrators basically bring it to the board of ed to kind of not solidify to ratify to allow the club. Yeah, there's a word here I'm missing.
Yeah, ratify's fine.
Yeah, sure.
I think that works.
So that doesn't matter. That's all the paperwork. That's just paperwork. No one cares about that because they're not the new players. So I got a club of about 10 people. So obviously I can't bring in Warhammer immediately because again, their concept of rolling dice, miniature games, and the problem is pricing. We mentioned
Oh
at
yeah.
the very beginning, these are inner city kids. Pricing, you have to know your audience. So
Yeah.
if you're teaching in Berkeley Heights, which I also have taught in Berkeley Heights, see, I don't need to say, I could say that because I don't teach there anymore.
That's true.
But if you teach in Berkeley Heights, those kids are upper middle class to really upper middle class. They're gonna have money to afford Warhammer 40,000.
And the parents are
My
gonna have the
kids are
money.
barely gonna. Yeah, my kids are now the kids are my kids I teach barely gonna afford a Magic card deck. So I need something that's going to enlighten them to imagination and thinking, but also be absolutely almost free to join. So what I do,
Mhm.
I did Dungeons and Dragons. So what I did was I showed them their character sheets. I let them see what the different classes were, and I set up I used oh, you would know the book. I don't remember the name of the book for Christ's sake. It's one with all the miniature short stories in them. It's got like a million it's short adventures. It's
Like
it's got like it's got like 8
a
adventures in
D&D
them.
book?
Yeah, it's a D&D book, and it's got
Fifth
like 8
fifth ed?
no, it's the newest edition. Yeah. And it's got like 7 different standalone adventures in them, but they could also be tied into your main campaign. One of them was like going into like a snake temple, or going into a kobold level. Oh, when you start talking, let me know when you start talking because I'll go look at my shelf because it's right over there, and I'll remember. It's
I
gonna drive me up the wall.
I don't. I mean,
But
D&D has put out
yeah,
quite a few books.
I know.
I do not know which one you're talking. And this was a while back, right?
Yeah, no, this was before COVID, so 2 years ago. Um, I'll find the book. This is literally right there. It's literally right there. So
It's
anyway,
4 different books.
no, I got you. Once I say the
Lost
name, you're
Mines
probably
of
like, oh
Fendelver?
no, hold on. Give me 30
Okay,
seconds.
no,
Give me
yeah,
30.
go
This is
ahead.
drive
Go
up the
take a
wall.
look. Go take a look. I don't know what he's talking about. Um, while he's taking a look, um, what I'll say is when we think about, in this case, talk about getting, say, kids in or anyone in. If someone doesn't know anything about the hobby, then yeah, it's all the points that we said before. But we also think about how to get those people actually interested to start with, or how to find them. So if you're in a school or something like that, then you have an audience already. If you don't have an audience, there's a lot of Facebook groups, there's meetups, there's common interest groups. There's a lot of ways to attempt to try to find people, attract people in. Did you find your book?
Tales of the Yawning Portal.
Oh, okay, got it.
And it's
I
basically what it is. It's 8. Yeah, it's 8 stories, all for different levels, and they're completely different. And so what I would do is I would take 5 people one week, 5 people the other, and then I also had someone else do magic with the other grids so they weren't bored.
okay.
Um, and I would run them through these standalone once a week games. And one of those missions or one of those, I guess, stories would last like 4 months. So it lasted me the entire year. 2 stories lasted me the entire year. And it was really cool because it essentially taught them to again, you have to imagine these are kids who are not used to imagination, right? They don't understand the concept of imagination or narrative storytelling, and for almost the first time in their lives, they're being asked to like, "What do you do?" What do you mean? What do I do? I'm asking. What do you do? What
Yeah.
do you want to do? What do you want to say? What do you want to be? What do you want? And to them, and it's funny because the girls actually got into it more than the boys. But it was funny because the girls actually became, these for one girl. I'm not gonna say names, but
Yep.
one girl was a warrior or a barbarian. I can't remember which, but she, in person, she would be in class and during the day, and her personality changed. She became more assertive, more outgoing, more like her character, and it was
Mm.
the most fat. And she was shy as hell. And to see her become more like her character was insanity. And one boy, right, they didn't do a lot of work, a lot of homework, but he played a mage, a wizard. He was fascinated with the idea of doing magical spells, but I told him, you have to know the concept of the magical spell. So he would
Yeah.
do research on like what magical spells he could do, why he did them. He actually did research. He started doing his homework out of nowhere because the
Oh
idea of it
wow.
just kind of ingrained in him to do research and do the homework.
He saw there was a good reason to
And it's
do it.
just,
He get something out of it, where maybe with schooling before he didn't see
yeah, he
that.
got something. And he
That's
acted,
really
and his
cool.
mage, of course, was he actually reminded me of a little bit of your mage that you
All right.
played, the little evil mage. Um, but he enjoyed it. And so that's why I got them into it. And sadly, COVID kind of cut the next year short, so
Yeah.
wasn't able to see them again. But even for that, so here's the fun part. I had Super Dungeon Explorer models, right?
Mm.
I don't know if for people who don't know what Super Dungeon Explorer is, that's just a company that does a really fun as hell board game, but their characters are all like chibis. And chibis are
Yeah.
like the little anime.
It's
It's like you have the yeah.
it's a board game. It's a one versus many style board game dungeon crawler, essentially, in the same sort of
Yeah.
a more anime chibi vibe of similar
Gauntlet. It's
to
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet, Descent, Imperial Assault, all of those.
Yeah. So what I did was I have tons of models from that company. I have at least 30 player characters alone, not just monsters, 30 player characters, right? I took those models and I just lined them up and I go, right, pick one that you like and I'll tell you a little about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I used a dry erase and like a little square map to kind of draw the caves and stuff. And they moved their characters around, so they were very fit. And that's how you started building up. First, start with the imagination. Then you gave them the miniatures, and they begin to be, this is my miniature. I'm invested in this miniature's life.
Yeah.
I'm invested in this story that I've now created for this miniature. I mean, for Christ's sake, there was one moment, and I'll always remember this. Freaking they were in a cave of kobolds and they opened up a damn cage of wild animals that the kobolds were keeping in there. And the
Yeah.
hunter goes, screw it. I'm going to try to tame one of them. And he decides, of course, to choose the dragonling, like the drakeling, the dragonling, a small dragon, which
Yeah. Okay.
normally you're not supposed to be able to tame. But I was like, as a teacher, I was like, fuck it, whatever, disadvantage. So he rolls a 20, and I'm like, okay, but you had disadvantage, roll it again. Motherfucker rolls a 20. So the level of excitement. They actually told the score to the rest of the school, and so I had kids coming up to me. I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about? Like a dragon pet?" You know. Oh, and this is why it was so because of Stranger Things. Stranger Things was making like Dungeons and Dragons super
Yeah.
important, and kids were
Yeah.
super into
That's true.
Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
It gave
Yep.
a
So
spot to know
so
something about it.
yeah, so that's the stuff, That's how you get kids interested, especially someone who's a new player. Now, again, I'm speaking from a Title One school, kids who have never. These are, but this is the new player. If we're
Yeah.
speaking about new players, these are people who have literally experienced FIFA as their miniature war game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's their game, and God save them, their soul, if that's the only thing. But they're coming in with zero knowledge. Now, Brett, I want to mention Brett's name. Brett had a wonderful thing with his school where he actually, and this is where I was mentioned before, he not called GW, but he emailed GW. GW sends stuff to your school: painting
So
supplies, brushes,
that's what I was going to ask
models,
about, because
glue.
you mentioned that,
Yes,
contacted them. Okay,
yes.
so he contacted them out, and then they
You
sent
can
him some
contact
stuff.
them. They sent him supplies. And Brett, of course, had his own Warhammer 40,000 stuff as well.
Yeah.
And he used that to show them how to paint, how to play. He basically did a kill team with them, essentially.
Okay.
But and the kids started buying Warhammer 40,000. But he teaches in a private school. So there's your, difference of disparity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your financial difference. But same exact concept. Because again, I taught in Berkeley Heights. You have these kids who, instead of playing FIFA, they may be playing, Call of Duty on their new computer that their mom bought them for Christmas. You know what I mean? Or so they have. It's the same shit, different money level. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Same shit, different money level. And so
And tailoring
you
it
can
to them is important. You
exactly.
said, "Hey, my kids can't necessarily do a miniature war game, but they can do D&D because I can get the book. They need a character sheet, and I'll give them a model." Where if your goal is to get them, and we'll talk about adults in a second, but if your goal is to work with, say, kids, because let's face it, that's where a lot of these games, that's a potential good draw. Not necessarily like very little kids or maybe teenagers and all, but what can you draw them in with, and what is the potential of that? If it's D&D and all, that's something you like, go for it. That's great. If you can get your kids actually playing, like our friend Brett, like, a 40K kill team, go for it. They got the money for it. That's great. What about,
Yeah.
so what about adults? Any idea for
Okay.
someone who's not a kid?
Yes. So it's harder.
Oh,
And
it's
there's
much
a
harder.
reason it's harder. Yeah, and I know the reason because I have a wife. Um, the reason it's harder is you laugh, but we all know.
Oh, I
No,
know.
it is
I
hard.
have one as
It's
well.
harder, and kids are at an age where their brains are still forming, they're still malleable. When you get into an adult, you've already. I'm not going to say you become a curmudgeon. That's mean. No, but you're
You've learned
solidified
what
in
you
your ways.
like in general.
Yeah, you've learned what you like. You're not experimenting anymore.
Mm.
And it happens kind of soon. It happens in your 18s and 20s, where
Yeah,
that the idea of going to parties, college parties, and drinking the jungle juice might not be a thing for you anymore. Although some people never grow out of that, so that's a
that's
different
very
story
true.
entirely. But it's at a certain point, you just kind of not want to say grow up because that's a mean way to I'm a miniature wargamer. I'm grown up. I have a kid, but you eventually solidify. Your brain solidifies, right? It's the
Yeah.
same thing with language. You stop learning the language after a certain age because your brain solidifies, so you can't literally learn another language. It's not you. It's just your brain hardens, and at that point, it's harder to teach people. It's hard to take. It's hard to get this is not people who've experienced miniatures as a game before, and you're just trying to have a new game with them. These are people who have never experienced rolling dice ever. They've never had the imagination of taking dice and saying, "I need a 4+ to hit because he's shooting a bolter through terrain." Right?
Yeah.
These are people who have again been kids with FIFA, and now they're adults with FIFA. Their biggest miniature wargaming experience was playing with like little green toy soldiers as a kid. And I don't know at that point what you do. Like I said, when I was at the Firestorm Armada thing, the NJCon,
Yeah.
I had adults come to me. These were older people who played historical war games, and they were
Yeah.
interested.
They're
They'd buy
gamers though.
boxes,
Yeah.
but they're gamers, right? Their kids were more so. But there were some people who came to there were some people who came to the conventional who were new and just kind of checking it out, right?
Mm.
And I did get some people who were adults who never played a game before in their lives, and they just like looking at them. And I ran them through a demo game. And I guess the weird thing about it is I think is this gonna sound weird? I think it's the same thing. I think even though adults have solidified brains, I
Yeah.
think at a certain point you're still kind of a kid at heart. You still want to have that recapture that moment of playing with your stupid green miniatures, green toy army men on the floor of your living room table or living room, right? Going psh, 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 and making noises. You still want to do that. I think every adult kind of wants to recapture that. And so your job in demoing the games is to rekindle that imagination, something that they may have forgotten over their, fantasy football leagues and their, dead 9 to 5 office grind, Yeah. Wow, that was really deep. Jesus. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think I spoke from the soul from that one. Apologies for the listeners. Jesus Christ.
I
Go ahead.
think so. To me, let's say you have someone who knows nothing about it, and while you're grabbing your book, I mentioned where you can try and find people. There's different groups. There's Facebook. I know that the store at one point we still have a meetup. We haven't used it much, obviously, because of what's going on. But meetup groups and all this sort of thing. So we have we have feelers out there. As you said, hey, when the weather's nice, you went out and you were playing in the park and getting people interested and all those are good. I think, let's say, you have a friend and you would like to get them into your hobby. I think it can be done. Let's say that friend knows nothing of miniature war games and anything like that, and you want to get them playing. I think it can be done, but I think usually the best way to start, depending on what other things you do, is things like RPGs and board games. Because they're more self-contained, they're a little bit easier. You can usually, so I do a lot of board games as well. And when you try to teach someone board games, when you try to get them interested in it, you start with some of the staples. There's some tried and true ones that you usually like to start with. It's usually because they have a good, interesting theme, pretty easy to understand, pretty easy to get through, and usually, enough excitement. And then you start getting them into games that have more complexity and all. I would say if you're really trying to do that, say in your friend group, what other things do you and your friends do? What do these other people do? Do you do any RPGs, any board game stuff like that? You could go straight with miniatures if you want. Depending on the game that you play, you might be able to get them interested in it. But if it does seem a bit much, figure out where you can start at a lower level. If you're looking, say, not necessarily your friends, but potentially other people around, see if there is other groups in your area. See if there's meetups for things.
Yep.
Anything like that can help. I know my wife is in a meetup, and they were doing a board game thing, and it was a bunch of people who had never played much of anything. So I went to my car, I grabbed out several different games I had, and said, "Okay, I'll teach any of these. Pick one that you think looks cool. Here's this thing," and kind of show them that way. It is definitely harder if someone doesn't know gaming at all, because then you probably, as adults, you probably need to know the person already. And if you already know them, you know the things they're into, and you might be able to convince them. I think one of the big things you have to think about with your war game, and this is true if you're trying to get someone who currently goes to your hobby shop or trying to get someone to show up to your hobby shop, is ask yourself the question of what's exciting about the game that I play. Not why am I excited about it? What's actually exciting about this game? What's actually interesting? Because someone who doesn't know your game, who's standing on the outside, they're not gonna. Is it the miniatures? Is that all that's exciting? Is it the rule set? Because if so, you better find a nice way to talk about that makes it sound exciting. Like, what actually would draw a person in? And I think that's the problem I have with historicals. When I look at it, I don't see anything that would draw me in. And I know I already played tons of other games, like I don't think there's much that's exciting about them. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're completely right. You're completely right. You're completely right.
I think that's the thing.
No,
you have to figure out what's actually the good part, and you better be able to sell that.
And then that goes honestly for adults or kids. Kids are a little easier, but adults, it's same thing. And this okay. It boils down to, and I know you put this in your notes too, but honestly, at the end of the day, if you're doing a demo game, if you're trying to get people into your game, you have to have the personality for it.
That's true.
You have to. You have to be outgoing. You have to be invested. You have to be fun. You have to be. I'm sorry. If you can be the most knowledgeable. I'm not going to say names again, but you could be the most knowledgeable person on the planet, right? About whatever the story is of whatever that game is. But if you do not have the outgoing personality to then teach to teach that game to someone who is an existing player or new to that space, then it's don't do it. Because then you're just going to turn them off. You have to be you have to. Maybe maybe because I was a server as well. I don't know. Whatever the hell. You gotta smile. You gotta. It's gonna be a weird way to put it. You gotta whore yourself out. You gotta whore yourself out. It's listen. You're selling you.
Yeah.
You're selling you, and you're also selling the game, right?
Yeah.
You are the face of whatever you are demoing, and I mean, that's what it comes down to.
New people don't care about your heavy lore discussion. It's meaningless to them.
Yes.
You know,
they don't care.
I think
you know what they care about.
What's that?
I was gonna say in Infinity, you know what they care about? When you cross the gap of a hallway and you notice that there's a sniper on top of the building, and you know you want to avoid that sniper, so you slowly peel across the other side of the building, ducking and weaving between cargo boxes. You get a nice, that's the shit right there. That right there. You peel down the barrel of your gun as you get an angle on the sniper. He doesn't see you yet. You let out 3 shots, but they miss. The sniper turns. You get one more shot, and you take him out. Boom. That's how you get people. That's Infinity, by the way. That's how you get them invested. That's how you do it. You weave the narrative. Oh my god, I sound like GW.
But they're the most popular for a reason. And it's not just because, they've been around a long time and all that, but they have good, interesting lore with good-looking models, and they know how to sell those two things together.
Yep.
And that's really what you need.
I agree.
Well, hopefully people found parts of this discussion useful. If you have other suggestions or anything like that, always feel free to, reach out and share them. I can always, share anything out that's said. I think, at least for the two of us, I think a lot of it comes down to, since we both have teaching backgrounds, it just comes very natural. And it, when you are showing someone demoing a game or trying to get people involved, that's really what it is. Teaching is a bit of an art. At the end of the day, it's a skill, but it's really an art. And giving a good demo is an art. And building a community is work. If you really want to get people involved in your game, you have to be willing to put the work in. If you're not willing to say, hey, every Wednesday, whether or not people show up, I'm here, I'm showing up for this game, I'm going to try to work on it, because it might be a while until it works. If you're not willing to do that, you're probably not going to build much of a community. You might be able to get some other people to help out, though. So, anything further that you would like to add?
No, that's pretty much it. Again, just I reiterate: if you're trying to demo game, you're trying to get people in. At the end of the day, it's you. It's you.
Yeah.
You gotta sell it. It comes down to all the pressure, all the pressure. But it comes down to you. It comes down to you. And the game is only as beautiful as you make it to be.
That right there should go on like a plaque above someone's mantle.
Along with Live, Laugh, Love?
Yeah. In place of, take that shit down, put it in the fire. Put that up.
The game is only beautiful as you make it out to be.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening. If you want to reach out and get in contact, anything like that, email is one of the best ways to do it. It's terrainkickersnj@gmail.com. If you like anything you hear, please do leave a review. Tell other people about it. I'm going to start advertise this on the various miniature wargaming groups and things like that. Hopefully get some more people listening and all. If you have anything in the future you'd like to hear about, please do let us know. I don't have a particular thought in mind of what we're going to discuss next week. Maybe next week we might be able to start our dive into why to play certain games. Or, since we've talked so much about Spartan, maybe we'll do our dissection of a dead war game. And we can go through a bit of Spartan and Firestorm Romano, what happened there. And
we got to talk about that.
Phoenix Resurrection. But we need to do a bit of research for that, and we'll see how this week goes for both of us. So, I want to thank everyone for listening. I'm Dave. That was Dan. And we'll see everyone around.
Have a good day, guys.